Okay, another thing to keep in mind as we're working on this kind of a thing is doubling problems. Let's look at two situations you could get yourself into in which you will have problems. Okay, so let's do another 5-1. In D, 5-7-1, sorry. I'm on voice 1. So I'm going to stack my chord like this. Okay, so A, C, E, G. Now, what I've done here is A, C. I left off the fifth and did another C, so I doubled the third, G. Not terrible. That's okay. We can live with that. Now let's resolve it into a perfect authentic cadence. So I have to go down to 1. I have to go down to tonic. And then let me just fill in the rest of this. Okay, so what happened here? Remember, my leading tone has to go up to tonic, right? My chordal seventh has to go down to my new third. So I've resolved correctly. But where did I go wrong? I went wrong in this doubling. Because now I've got the leading tone is doubled. It's not only that I doubled the third of this chord, that by itself isn't a deal breaker. But in this particular case, that's the leading tone of my resolution. So now I've resolved this correctly, and I've resolved this leading tone correctly, but that made parallel octaves, right? C and C going to D and D, parallel octaves. So if you set up a chord this way, a 5-7 chord this way, and then try to resolve it to a perfect authentic cadence, you're going to have this problem of parallel octaves in your leading tone. So don't double your leading tone in your 5-7 chord is a good rule of thumb. How can we fix this? I take one of those C's and get it into an E. What if I did this? Okay, now I have A, C, E, G. All the notes of my 7th chord. And now let's see. My C goes up to a D. My E goes down to a D. My G still goes down to an F. This is a parallel 6, which is okay. Nothing wrong with that. Did I make any other problems here? I don't think so. I think that works. Let's hear it. So that one works. Let me go back to how we had this. Oops. I think this is what it was, right? Yeah. So let's just hear this one. This is with the parallel octaves now. This is the wrong way, but I want to hear it. Right? It's so subtle. It's so subtle, but if we are trying to do music theory perfectly, this is a no-no because it's parallel octaves. Let's look at one more. Let's go out to here. So I'm going to set up I'm going to write a 5-7 chord. Okay, so the same voicing in my 5-7 chord. But let's find another way to resolve it. So here's that same 5-7 chord resolved bad, right? Because we have this double leading tone. Let's try the same 5-7 chord again, the same voicing of it, but let's try to resolve it in a slightly different way and see if we can do any better. So let's try going A, D, D, oops. D, and F. Okay, let's see what went wrong here. Well, first of all, my leading tone does not go up. It does not resolve correctly that way. My chordal seventh does. That's fine. My leading tone here does resolve correctly. And we have our root position 5-1. So this doesn't work either. What we did here is we let one of our leading tones resolve correctly and the other one not resolve correctly. Also doesn't work. So in both cases, if we have a double leading tone, it doesn't work. The only way to fix this is to do what I did before and get rid of the doubled leading tone. And then do the resolution and you'll be just fine. So, the thing to keep in mind here is don't double your leading tone in your 5-7 chord because you're going to draw yourself into a corner and there's no way out of it. So don't do that. Easy enough, right? Okay, let's move on.